I have helped lots of investors over the years building their portfolio, and I've seen it come and go both ways. I've seen people make a lot of money. I've seen people overcommit themselves and get into a bad situation. But as long as you're financially responsible and you're living within your means and you're secure and you've got the money to do it, I think it's a no-brainer really to own property.
All right, guys. So I'm here with Graem Pate, friend of mine at Beachy Beach Realty down in Panama City Beach. But Graem, you are an amazing agent, an amazing story, and you've had some changes come up lately. Now, tell us first of all where you're from and how you came about coming to the U.S.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me. So I grew up in New Zealand. My parents migrated there from the States back in the 80s. They still live in New Zealand. Actually, my mum's visiting me at the moment. She's out walking the dog. She lives in a little place called Wanganui, which is in the North Island. And they love New Zealand. I came to the States about 10 years ago. I'd came here a few times, when I was younger. Kind of a long story without getting into too much detail, but I came here about 10 years ago and just saw the opportunity to better myself and be more successful. As long as I was ready to put in some hard work. And kind of long story short, I ended up here in Panama City a couple of years ago and getting back into real estate, which I did, back in New Zealand for quite a few years, and I was quite successful there. So yeah, just really excited to be here. I love Panama City. I love being near the beach, and everyone's just been really nice and friendly. Just the warm weather is that's what I like.
What's the biggest difference between being a realtor, and I don't even know if you call them realtors, but a real estate agent or what you call them in New Zealand? What's the difference between being a real estate agent in New Zealand versus in the US?
I think it's really similar, Mark. Obviously the property laws are a little bit different. The way things are handled are a little bit different, but there is a lot of similarities. So like instead of having your broker, instead of having your broker, it's like your principal over there. But essentially, it's all very similar. In terms of buyer's responsibility and the financial and conventional type loans. And I imagine they've probably got something similar to what you're doing as well with the all-in-one loans. I'm not 100% sure about that. Back then, I hadn't heard of the all-in-one loans before, which I'm really excited about. I think they're great. So yeah, it's very similar but different, if that makes sense. When you go to another country, it's like things are kind of similar but a little bit different.
Right. What would you say to people right now in this real estate market that are, thinking about buying in the next 6 months to a year, especially in your area right there? What would you say to them?
Yeah, that's a good question, Mark. I mean, I think, ultimately, there's a traditionally there's an inverse relationship with interest rates and with pricing, and at the moment we've sort of seen these rates coming up, but we haven't seen the prices come down too much. So I think it's always a good time to buy if you're having to pay rent anyway. My wife and I, we bought a property here a couple of years ago now. We've got a little bit of equity in it. We're thinking about maybe doing a HELOC, maybe, trying to get a short-term rental property or some type of investment property just to get on that property ladder. I have helped lots of investors over the years, building their portfolio, and I've seen it come and go both ways. I've seen people make a lot of money. I've seen people overcommit themselves and get into a bad situation, particularly around the housing crisis of 2008. That took a little while to sort of hit us in New Zealand. but as long as you're financially responsible and you're living within your means and you're secure and you've got the money to do it, I think it's a no-brainer really to own property. If you know if you're a first home buyer. There's a lot going on for Panama City when it comes to Tyndall Air Force Base, so that's a big plus. If we didn't have the Air Force Base, I'd possibly be a little bit more concerned about the economy here. So I do try to keep up with what's going on with the Federal Reserve and the global market economy in general. I do a bit of options and futures trading, which has a relationship with the dollar and inflation and 100 other variables. But I think the outlook's looking good in general. If I had to try and sum it up, it's not doom and gloom yet, as far as I can tell.
Great. And tell me, man, you had a recent accident, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I was on my Harley Davidson. I had a 2011 Road Glide Harley Davidson, and I've been riding on and off, for a good part of my life. And I want to say I had that bike for maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And I guess I just became a little bit complacent. I wasn't maybe quite as alert as I should have been. You really need your head on a swivel and just being a defensive driver and looking around and treating, other vehicles as if maybe they can't see you because sometimes they're not looking for motorcycles. But long story short, it was my fault. I just wasn't paying attention for about a second or two, and I rear-ended someone. And thank God that they were okay. No one was hurt. And I managed to, excuse me, I managed to hurt my foot pretty bad. I got 7 screws in my right foot, and I tore a PCL. And I'm still limping around a bit, and I'm honestly not sure if I'll ever make a full recovery. I don't think I'll be, sort of running any marathons, put it that way. But I'm getting better every day, Mark, and God's been looking out for me, and I feel blessed, just to still have my foot. Really, my whole foot kind of twisted around, and so it could have
Wow.
been worse.
I'm
Yeah.
glad it wasn't worse, man. I'm glad you're here with us. So your wife, Ashley, also from New Zealand and also in real estate?
No, sir. So
Oh,
my wife Ashley, she's from Slidell, Louisiana.
okay. Your wife's from Slidell, Louisiana, but
Yep. And
she's also in real
she,
estate, correct? Also in
yes,
real
sir.
estate? Hmm.
Yeah, yep. She's got her realtor's license as well, and we're both with Beachy Beach Real Estate. And she's actually taken a job doing nursing at the moment, but she is available on weekends to help look at properties or do an open house or anything like that. And I've also got her to help me with some of the paperwork side of things because I'm kind of more of a people person. I'm more the what would you call it, the word just jumped out of my brain for a minute. But I enjoy just sort of meeting people and sort of
Extrovert?
just, yeah, I'm a bit more of an extrovert. That's what I was looking for, Mark. Thanks. And she's a little bit more of an introvert. So she likes to kind of look at the paperwork and cross the I's and dot the T's, where I'm not so much into that. I mean, I'll do it, but it's not something I enjoy. So yeah, we make a
Okay.
good team.
Good. And so when did you come to Beachy Beach?
I want to say it was about a year and a half ago now.
Okay.
Yeah, probably about 16 months ago.
And what made
Yeah.
you choose Beachy Beach?
Well, I talked to I talked to a few other brokers actually. One of them was, just sort of in the startup phases and they didn't have any listings at the time. So, I kind of wanted a place that had some listings and some, some other agents and whatnot. But I guess what made me choose Beachy Beach was just the community and everyone was like really nice and friendly, and just the vibe, I guess. It's not like a high pressure sort of environment where you're sort of having to do all these phone calls and or whatever. I'm not too sure what some of the other companies do or sort of want you to do, but just the friendliness and just the vibe and you know yeah, just that they just seem like a really nice group of people, really. Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say to someone out there that's maybe looking to plug in into real estate in that area? What would you say about Beachy Beach being a possible home for them?
To another agent.
Yeah, maybe a prospective agent.
Yeah, well, I'd say definitely, like talk with Scott, talk with Karen, talk with pretty much any of the agents if they want to, just text them, call them, say hello if they've got any questions, how they feel about it. I mean, obviously they're still there, so that's probably for a reason. But as with anything, I'd recommend anyone do their due diligence on anything, whether it's one brokerage or the other. I mean, if you're getting a quote to fix something on your property, you're probably going to get 2 or 3 quotes unless you know the guy, and then you might just call him up. But I'd say it's a great place. There's always emails, people asking, if you want to do an open home on the weekend, which I thought was pretty cool. If you're a newer agent or maybe you don't have many listings and you're able to sort of pick up these open homes and then maybe try and build your brand, your network, your contacts, and just try and hit the ground running a little bit more. They implement the ninja training, which I haven't done myself yet, which I'm actually looking to do coming up soon, and I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I've read quite a few books and I've been involved in sales for a long time, but I don't know everything, and a lot of the time you forget things, that you might have known, and then you read it or you go over it again and you're like, oh, that's right. Like you were saying the other, like I think it was last week on one of your calls, you mentioned about the depreciation on the short-term rentals of up to 25% in the first year. And I'm like, man, I've read that somewhere, like, but I kind of just forgot about it. And then I was like quite excited. And, I messaged a couple of my friends. I'm like, that, you can potentially do this for a short-term rental as long as you manage the property. And obviously I can't explain all of the details to you because I'm not like a financial advisor or a CPA, but here's a link that kind of explains the details more. So yeah, no, it's a great community, great group of agents. I haven't had one bad experience, honestly. Yeah.
Good, good. Well, talking about Scott Bowman, of course, and Karen Key Smith, the broker,
Mhm.
and their roles there in recruiting, and so great people, and can't say enough good things about them. But man, thanks for coming on today.
Yeah.
It's been good to see you. I'm glad you're healing up, and continued healing to you. And I appreciate you coming on. Okay.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mark, and I look forward to working together, whether it's on one of my personal deals or with one of my clients, or hopefully on one of these investments that I've got coming up trying to develop. So we'll be in
Great.
touch.
Sounds great.